So what is Nazism and how Hitler rose? We'll talk about that. Now we'll start with a story, a very small story, and then we will go to the detail with the backdrop of this story. We'll not discuss about the Nazism and Hitler just now, but you will soon come to know that who was Hitler and how Nazism came into effect and how it affected that part of the world and the world as a whole. So in the spring of 1945, there was a little 11-year-old German boy called Helmut. Now he was trying to sleep. He overheard his parent discussing that whether they must kill themselves only or they must take the children with them. That means all the family should die. Now, why his father was speaking or why his father has that intention is that the allies, we'll talk about these allies, these allies will do exactly what he and his say Nazi counterparts they did to the Jews and other people. Next day, his father, Helmut's father, killed himself. And then Helmut didn't eat in the house because he was afraid that his mother would poison him. What Helmut went through and why his father killed himself? Because his father was a Nazi and he was a supporter of Adolf Hitler. Now Hitler was a dictator, and the main thing was which it came a lot after the war ended, that people came to know what was done by him and the Nazis in Germany and nearby. So there is a story behind this, that in May 1945, first of all, Germany surrendered to the Allies. Now there are two powers because it was a world war. Allies were the Allied powers initially led by United Kingdom, that is Britain and France. In 1941, they were joined by USSR and USA, that is USSR, USA, UK and France on one side, and then the Axis power, Germany, Italy and Japan on the other side. So this was the war, that is the World War. Germany surrendered to the Allies in May 1945, and anticipating what was coming, Hitler, and you can also see Goebbels on the left. So they committed suicide, and there was, at the end of the war, there was International Military Tribunal at Nuremberg. It was set to prosecute the Nazis post the war for war crimes and crimes against humanity. So Germany, the axis power, those actions, these were called as crime against humanity. And what happened after that is this, under the shadow of the Second World War, which took place, we just talked about the two parties, Germany had waged a genocidal war, that is mass murder of selected group of innocent civilians of Europe. So they killed, or I'm not talking about all the Germans, the Nazis we are talking about. So how many of them killed? Or this Hitler and all other people, they killed 6 million Jews, Yahudi, 200,000 gypsies, and 1 million Polish civilians, 70,000 Germans also. See, Germans killed Germans who were considered mentally and physically disabled, and various other political opponents. So this was Nazis' unprecedented killing, and this was done by gassing them with a poisonous gas, and the killing centers like which was found in Auschwitz. So the Nuremberg Tribunal after the Second World War sentenced only 11 leading Nazis. Others were imprisoned just because they don't want to do what was done after the First World War. After the First World War, the Allies did not want to be as harsh on defeated Germany as they did in the First World War. So everyone came to feel that the rise of Nazi Germany could be partly traced back to the German experience at the end of the First World War. So what we have seen here, first let me tell you, genocidal means killing of large scale leading to destruction of large sections of people. Genocide means a community or a people belonging to certain religion, certain caste or creed, especially the majority killing these minorities. This is genocidal or genocide. So what we have seen here is, let me summarize it. See, First World War, Germany was Axis. So Germany, Austria, Hungary, they fought with others. After the First World War, the Germans, they lost, and everything was showered upon them. That is, the Germans are responsible. So we'll talk about all these. So there were some treaty, etc., and there was a lot of you can say humiliation for the Germans. So most of the things were done. We will just discuss about that. Then all these things happened, and Hitler came. Hitler came and Hitler said, and as a personality, he said that I am going to I am going to give back all the, you can say, the glory which German enjoyed, because the glory was devastated here after First World War. Now Germany went with Hitler, and there was a Second World War. Again, we'll talk about who fought the Second World War. After that, Germany again lost, and this is the story after the Second World War, what happened. But when the Second World War ended, it was known that what has happened in Germany was really unprecedented, complete genocide. But we talk about Hitler as a killer, right? But let us see that what was the background, what actually happened. Can we say that he was actually the way people present him? You'll know by now, just after a few minutes. So the birth of Weimar Republic. Germany, a powerful empire in the early years of the 20th century, fought the First World War, and along with whom? Austria and Hungary, and they fought with England, France and Russia. Now this war stretched on, and Germany initially made a gain by occupying France and Belgium, but the Allies, previously it was England, France and Russia, but when the United States entered, Germany was defeated, and these are called the central power. These are called the central powers. These are allies, and US entry, these allies, they won, and the central powers, that is Germany and other countries, they lost. Now after the defeat of Imperial Germany and the abdication of Emperor, it gave an opportunity to parliamentary parties to recast the German polity or German politics, because the things have, Germany has been defeated. So a National Assembly met at Weimar. That is why we called it as a Weimar Republic. So the National Assembly met at Weimar and they established a democratic constitution with a federal structure. Now the deputies were now elected properly to German parliament or Reichstag. This is also the name of German parliament, and on the basis of voting cast by all adults, including the women also. This happened after the lost or Germany losing, then after that this happened. So this Weimar Republic was not well received by German people, right? Because they thought that they are responsible, or this is the responsibility they endowed upon the Germans, especially, that at the end of First World War they were not well received. There was a peace treaty. But before we go ahead, let me tell you that this is the figure that Germany, this one, in 1914, but after this Rhineland, this is a demilitarized zone after the First World War, and most of the places, good places, the resourceful places were taken from Germany, and these were the land being taken from Germany. These were the land taken from Germany because Germany lost miserably to the Allies. So there was a peace treaty of Versailles, where Allies, that is those who won, was very harsh, very harsh. Germany lost overseas colonies, 1/10 of its population, 13% of its territories, 75% of iron and 26% of coal to France, Poland, Denmark and Lithuania. Okay, and also they did demilitarize Germany to weaken its power. They all thought that it is Germany who is responsible for the war. So Germany has to pay 6 billion this as a compensation. Okay, and there was a Rhineland I showed you in the map. This was a resource rich place, and this was occupied by the Allied armies. Now, because of this, many Germans held the new Weimar Republic for the defeat, not only for the defeat, but the disgrace, the humiliation caused because of this Versailles Treaty. So what was the effects of the war? Because war, Germany lost. So Germany, it was financial and psychological also. German went to the war with taking money that is on debt. So it was the war guilt and national humiliation, and because the German has to pay the compensation also. So everyone was mocking the Nuremberg criminals, Germans as Nuremberg criminals. So the First World War, as we said, after the First World War, it was a deep imprint on the European society and polity. All the soldiers were given a lot of importance now. Politicians and publicists, they laid great stress on the need of men to be aggressive, strong and masculine. Media also glorified their life. The men who are living in trenches, they are glorified. But in reality, they face poisonous gas, enemy shelling, right? So there was an aggressive war propaganda, and national honor, nationality, it grew up. So democracy was not very popular, and it was a fragile idea at that time because there was instability. The war was just happened and things were going on like that. So there was a political radicalism and economic crisis. Now, the birth of the Weimar Republic it actually coincided with what was happening in the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Soviet Soviets of workers and sailors, they were established in many cities here also. The political atmosphere in Berlin was charged with demands of Soviet-style governance, because these period coincided with that Soviet revolution. So everyone met socialist, democratic, and Catholic. These Catholics, they wanted to give a shape to democratic republic. But the Weimar Republic crushed the uprising with the help of war veterans, and the organization was called as Free Corps. So the anguished, this Spartacists, as I just mentioned, let me go back. At this time, when there was a political radicalism, because Weimar Republic coincided with the revolutionary uprising of the Spartacist League, just like the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. So the Weimar Republic, it tried to crush this Spartacist type of uprising which can take place here also. So the anguished Spartacists, they founded Communist Party of Germany, because they wanted the communism to come here. The communist and socialist, they become irreconcilable enemies. That is, they were inner fighting going on. And here, it was uprising, or Hitler came in. Both the revolutionaries and militant nationalists, they craved for radical solutions. But this political radicalization was not only the thing, it was highlighted or heightened by the economic crisis in 1923. As I just mentioned, Germany fought the war with loans and had to pay the war reparations in gold. That is make up for wrongdoing, reparation. Depletion means reduce, empty. So the gold reserves were depleted, and in 1923, Germany did what? They refused to pay because they don't have any money. So French did what? They occupied the leading industrial area of Germany, that is Ruhr, and claiming all the area coal. But Germany retaliated. It was a passive resistance, and they printed paper currency. And because of this, so much money was in circulation. The currency, the German currency at that time, mark, fell. If we can go back, the US dollar, $1 was equal to 24,000 marks. See how many notes will have to be carried. If you see, these baskets and cards are being loaded at a bank in Berlin with paper currency for wage payment. Just after that, in July, it was 353,000, that is 3,53,000 marks for $1. And it rose to numbers like 4,621,000 marks in August, and then the numbers are so high, it went to 9,886,000 marks by December. And in December, it went to trillions. So the mark collapsed. The good price soared. It went all-time high. And this is called as hyperinflation. This is a situation when prices rise phenomenally high, as you see by these numbers. But America came, intervened, and they bailed out Germany. And they have a crisis plan, Dawes plan we call. And something was done for the Germans. If you see at that time, these are the homeless Germans queuing up for the night shelter, that is, they want to sleep. So there were years of depression also. After this, there was some stability because American came into rescue. But it didn't go for long. Because of the Wall Street exchange crashed in USA. This effect or ripple effect came to Germany also and all other countries, right? because the USA, the national income fell by half. Factories were shut down, exports fell, farmers were badly hit, and speculators withdrew their money from the market. And when they withdrew the money from the market, you see that what will happen? It was German economy went to economic crisis. So by 1932, the industrial production was reduced to 40% of the 1929 levels. Workers lost their jobs. Number of unemployed were 6 million. So, all were jobless. So this economic crisis, it created anxieties and fear in people. All, middle class or anybody, they are going to be, let me tell you, the Wall Street Exchange, this is name of the world's biggest stock exchange located in USA. If you see, these people are sleeping in line because they are unemployed, depressed. This was all happening there. So there was a chance. People fear that this is a very long word. This is called as proletarianization. It's a very difficult word to pronounce. Okay, so this is to become impoverished to the level of working class. That is, the good earning class will become the labor class. Okay, so this was an anxiety of the people. Politically also, Weimar Republic was fragile. The constitution of Weimar was inherently, it consists of certain defects. So it made things unstable and vulnerable also. Okay. And there was other thing also. There was a defect called Article 48. In this, the president can use its power to impose emergency. This is very important. The president can use the power to impose emergency, civil right, and rule by decree. So within this short time, this Article 48 was immensely used. Weimar Republic saw 20 different cabinet. Average day is 239 days. So you can see how fragile and how vulnerable this regime was. So people lost their confidence in the democratic parliamentary system because Weimar Republic was eventually not solving their problem. We saw the problem they had. Now came Hitler. There was a crisis in economy, polity and society that actually were the backdrop how Hitler rose to power. Hitler, born in Austria in 1889, his youth was in poverty. When the First World War broke, he came to army. He acted as messenger and corporal and also earned certain bravery medals. And when the Germans were defeated, he was horrified and also he was furious because of the Versailles Treaty. So in 1919, Hitler joined a very small group called German Worker Party and he subsequently took over. And it was National Socialism German Workers' Party now. But eventually, the previous German Worker Party and then National Socialism German Workers' Party, it became the Nazi Party that we are talking about. This party became the Nazi Party. So in 1923, Hitler planned to seize control of the Bavaria, march to Berlin and capture power. He failed, arrested and went to treason and he was later released. The Nazis could not effectively mobilize popular support. If you see, there was a great depression that Nazis become a mass movement. But things, as we saw, that the conditions were not very good. So Nazi propaganda, it stirred hopes in the people of Germany for a better future because things were not going well. Weimar was not doing well. So in 1928, Nazi party just got 2.6% vote in the Reichstag, that is the German parliament. But after 4 years, 1932, this party, Nazi, became the largest party with 37% votes. If you see, this is how Hitler is being greeted at the party congress in Nuremberg. So they took the help of propaganda, specific type of message directly aimed at influencing the opinion of people, that is through poster, films and speeches. So Hitler, why he rose to power? There is not just that people were not having a very good life, but Hitler was a very, very powerful speaker. His words motivated people. He promised that he will make a strong or build a strong nation, and what injustice German people went through this Versailles Treaty, he will restore this dignity. He promised the employment and secure future for the youth. He also promised to weed out all the foreign influences and the conspiracies against Germany. So it was a new style of politics. If you see, this is the Nuremberg rally in 1936. How many people are here? This is how they you can say propaganda, you can say they spread their message. It's the different way to think. Here also, if you see, there is Hitler. He is Hitler addressing the SA and SS. That is a proper planned and organized way of speaking. So his style, he understood the significance of the rituals and spectacle of how to mobilize the mass, the normal people. They held massive rallies. If you see the pictures, it shows that how they demonstrated the support for Hitler and tried to unite the people. The red banners with swastik, the Nazi salute, the ritualized rounds of applause after the speech. These were these show of power of Hitler. So as we say that you can say it as a propaganda. It projected Hitler as a Messiah, a savior. He can only came out or relieve people from the distress. So this is the people wanted, because the dignity and pride of people were shattered, and they just want something to happen, and they saw it in Hitler. So how this destruction of democracy took place? On 30 January 1933, President Hindenburg, he offered chancellorship to Hitler, highest position in the cabinet of ministers. And by now the Nazis has managed to rally the conservatives also. As Hitler acquired the power, Hitler dismantled the structures of democratic rule. There were fire and things were burned, and he turned on the arch enemies, the communists, and most of them, they were packed off and just sent to the concentration camps. So these are concentration camps, a camp where people were isolated and detained without the process of law. Typically it was surrounded by electrified barbed wire fence. Nobody could leave. So if you see, the repression of communists were very severe, and if the files, because a mystery fire broke, everything was finished. On 3rd March 1933, it was a famous enabling act was passed by Hitler, and this established dictatorship in Germany. That is why we call Hitler as a dictator. This act gives all the powers to sideline the parliament and rule by the decree. Decree means one rule, means a person can make decision. All political parties and trade unions were banned. Only Nazi party and affiliates were allowed. Complete control over economy, media, and army and judiciary was taken over by the Nazis. Special forces, surveillance and security forces were made, and The regular police were there. Apart from that, it was stormtroopers and the Gestapo, Secret State Police, SS, the Protection Squad, Criminal Police, Security Service, SD. So they give the extra constitutional powers to all these new forces. Right? So now people can easily be detained in Gestapo torture chambers, rounded up. They can be sent to these concentration camps. They get deported. They can be arrested without any legal proceedings. So this police forces, they acquired powers to rule with impunity. That is, nobody can question them.